Time for the player interview, powered by your Southern California Toyota dealers. Visit a Toyota dealer or Toyota.com to learn more. We make it easy. Kurt Sandoval.
Hey, thanks, guys. I'm with Tyler Higbee. Your preseason was the 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday this week, with the ones going against the ones. What was the benefit? What did you guys take out of that?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it's getting preseason reps in a little bit more of a controlled setting. It was good. Got after it. Got some good competition, ones-on-ones, and came out a good week of work.
As I watch practices and I watch training camp, I see a Matthew Stafford that looks as healthy as I've seen since he's come here. You're catching balls from him. Describe how you feel about this offense right now and him 2 weeks removed from the opener against Seattle.
Yeah, he looks great, man. He looks great. It's all about being, preparing to peak week one. So that's our goal right now, and got a good week of work in this week, good week last week against the Raiders. But yeah, he looks great right now, and it's a pleasure catching footballs from him.
Hey, man, stay healthy this year.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Tyler Higbee has been sensational. He's coming off 72 catches, played 110 games, and when he's healthy, the Rams seem to be as well. Back to you guys.
Back to the booth, Maurice Jones-Drew's back down there, and sitting in the middle, the man who is now in his 12th season, we just counted on fingers, as GM of the Rams. Les Snead, good to see you.
Good to see y'all.
How do you make sense of tonight?
It's preseason. It's unfortunate if anyone is still watching, and I can't imagine they are. It's unfortunate that the fans haven't gotten to see, let's call it the practices with the Raiders, the practices with the Broncos. That's where we're going to be a lot less vanilla. That's where you're going to see the collective look a little more competent, and the starters are going to be out there as well.
And we've said that, and we discussed it with Sean, and great to have Sean put on the headset during the game, considering how things were going here, about how the 2 days last week against the Raiders looked good. The 2 days certainly look good here this week against the Broncos, and that's the confidence with which you can take into week one in Seattle that your starters played really well. That said, you got a lot of tough decisions to make here, and a lot of the guys who played tonight are factoring here, are guys that you're considering, do they make this team or not?
Definitely. There's some guys on the field tonight playing right now. Some are on the bubble, some are fighting for that, some of those last spots.
How about Marquise Copeland a sack there, for example?
It's always good when you make a play this late in the year.
Let's talk about, I kind of talked with Sean a little bit about this with the waiver wire, right? Guys, you're seeing tight ends go, veteran tight ends are getting cut in Philly, and guys are kind of starting to trim their roster. Are you guys going to really look for that waiver wire with the ability to have to try to teach someone your offense, your defense, or your special team scheme, or are you going to kind of stick with the guys you have here and to continue to develop those guys?
I think we'll do it case by case. We'll definitely explore the waiver wire. Our group of scouts have been watching the preseason games, the first two, and they'll watch this weekend's, and when that waiver wire comes out, we'll make comparisons. You're exactly right. There's probably not a player that you would claim that would maybe make the 48-man roster, but there's definitely somebody who could make the 53 and eventually become a 48-man.
And Sean McVay talks so much. And there's Alberto, by the way, from Ben DiNucci with the big gain there. For the Broncos, they're approaching the red zone now at the 22. Sean McVay always talks about it's not so much the 53 that's important, it's the 48 that's important. In other words, who is going to dress on game day? Have you figured out that math? Nick Hampton, nice rush. Daniel Hardy chasing DiNucci, who scrambles and gets close to a first down. Have you figured out the math yet at your numbers at each position?
We're pretty close to the 48, but we don't have 100%. And again, it'll get into special teams and which positions you go in a little light, depending on teams, not teams. We've pretty close to the 53, and then what we always say in the building is there's a 48-man roster, there's a 53-man roster, and then there's the practice squad. There's 69 players, and nowadays with the rules where you can standard elevate practice squad players, and you can put veterans on the practice squad. It's very intentional in how you construct, engineer 48, 53, and then 69.
Yeah, Les, I'm very disappointed that you guys waited until like a couple years ago to do the veterans on the practice squad, because, I probably could have got a couple, gave you a good look on the scout team or something.
You know what? I think of C.J. Anderson.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's wait till about week 16.
I'm working out, man. I'm working out.
Get ready.
Can you take us through that process of how do you, not necessarily just put names, but how do you develop the 48-man roster, the 53? Like, what is the thought process as you go through?
Well, the 48 is very important because those are the guys that are going to be starting and contributing on game day. offense, defense, and special teams. The 53 is very interesting. A lot of times we say in the building, it's not middle school basketball. Some people may earn a spot on the 53, but it's a little bit easier, we think, to cut them, let them clear, put them on practice squad. And sometimes that's unfortunate, but we say this is a business. It's not middle school basketball where maybe the players that earn the 53 earn the 53.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on Stetson Bennett tonight?
I'm sure he wished he could have a couple of throws back for sure, a little more. The last 2 weeks haven't been what he showed in the first preseason. But again, with the practices with the Raiders and the practices with the Broncos, he definitely had 4 really quality outings. And
has your confidence been shaken that he could be the number 2?
Definitely not shaken that he can be the number 2. And I think what Sean would say with someone like Stetson, because of his mobility, things like that, it's different coming in the night. You got a vanilla playbook. If you had to get to a Stetson Bennett, you're going to game plan to his strengths. You're going to try to use some of his superpowers.
Now, those joint practices, obviously you guys are there scouting your players, looking at yours, and you're looking at others. How do you feel that you guys fared in some of those on the bottom half of your roster? Not necessarily the stars. We heard about the ones doing well and those things, but the 2s and the guys that are on the brink of being a 53 or a 6, a guy that you bring on the practice squad. How have you fared, and have you seen guys on other rosters that you may, if they weren't available, you take a look at?
Oh, definitely. When you go 4 practices, as intense as those practices can get, there's an unfair advantage for both sides where one of our players that maybe, let's just say we might have been thinking about cutting and sliding him to the practice squad. Well, if he had a really 2 good days against the Broncos, and maybe a couple of their scouts will mention, so-and-so had a good practice yesterday, you may rethink whether you cut that player because he might not clear because someone like the Broncos or Raiders got an intimate look.
Denver just got a first down there on 3rd and short. Ben DiNucci has the team now at the 10-yard line, and that's Beatty there with the carry, and Quindell Johnson with another tackle. I want to talk about the O-line. Saw Joe Noteboom down there on the field before the game. Everyone dressed. Obviously, Rob Havenstein still did not working back from the stinger, but it seemed to be a good sign that Noteboom went through his pregame routine with the rest of the O-line. He's been out the last 2 weeks. Are you comfortable with the way the O-line is constructed and the possibility here of Noteboom starting at right guard without a lot of practice?
That's the vision. Obviously we got to get him onto the practice field. He's got to show that he's comfortable and he's ready to play. And then at that point in time, there's a decision to be made because since he's left, Tremaine Ingram has played well. Zachary Thomas has played well. So that's the rose of the thorn of the bad luck of losing Noteboom. But the positive, the good luck in it is you get to see 2 players continue fighting and play consistent football.
Because the offensive line, I think we all do agree, obviously last year it's just wrecked by injuries with 12 different lineups those first 12 weeks. If you keep Matthew upright, you do feel the pieces are there around him.
That's the vision, Matthew. As you've been at a lot of practices, both of y'all, he's throwing the ball as well as he's thrown since he's been around. Elbows really healed. He's having fun playing football. You've seen him when he converts a 3rd down, the fist pump. But he is a pocket passer, has a little bit of mobility in the pocket, but let's call it like it is. He's a pocket passer, and we definitely know that if we can keep him upright and give him a chance to pick apart the defense, he has the skills to do that.
All right, so Jordan Jones was called there for pass interference in the back of the end zone, never turned around, a lot of contact there, and the Broncos are knocking on the door yet again. Back to the process here, maybe some cuts made tomorrow, and then are you going to hold your cards as you have the last couple of years really up until that Tuesday deadline?
That's the vision. We will, for efficiency's sake, because we do have to discuss with 35 players. Do you need to call the touchdown?
No, go ahead. You want to call it? Sean called the pick 6 last week. You want to call Tyler Beatty touchdown?
Tyler Beatty, TD. Give him credit.
Missouri.
Mizzou.
Yeah, I scouted him. Solid player. Now I wanted to ask you about Byron Young, right? Guy, he hasn't hit the preseason. What is he showing you in these practices that, as a rookie, you never really got him out there to get some live reps in the preseason?
Well, I think he's gone against, going back to those live practices, against starting offenses for the Raiders and Denver, and what he has shown. We're always asking, can a college player, can their superpowers translate to the NFL? And his physics definitely has. He has an element of explosion off the ball, a lot of power, and he plays with this urgent tenacity. I think the Raiders tight end coach mentioned that, you know what, he's a rookie. He may be wrong every now and then, but boy, he's violent.
And he looked good this week. Great closing speed against the Broncos in practice. Hey, you got anywhere to go?
This is fun.
You want to stick around?
We're going to stick around.
All right, Rams GM Les Snead stays with us when we come back. For Rams fans, GM Les Snead kind enough to stick with us in the booth. We were talking before about Byron Young. The fact that he's not playing tonight, the fact that he didn't play last week is the sign that fans at home need that he has not only made this team, there's no doubt he would make this team, but that he is a starter. The question is, with such a big draft class, you drafted 14 guys. Can you keep all 14?
That's a great question. We've gone through a few scenarios where all 14 have made it. We've gone through a few scenarios where, unfortunately, some didn't, and we tried to slide them to practice squad.
And the game here is who can you sneak through waivers, really.
Yes.
But for another team to claim one of the guys that you waive, and a rookie, it wouldn't be just a flat-out release, it would be a waive, and then teams get in line to claim those guys. They have to put them on their active roster.
Correct.
They just can't claim them and stick them on the practice squad. I mean, that's a big leap for other teams to make if you are getting rid of a rookie. They need to keep that guy.
Definitely. And it probably depends on the franchise and where they're at, what phase they're in. You know, some with more veteran teams, contenders, may be less apt to claim, but some that are building, they'll utilize the waiver wire and try to, let's call it, steal a few extra draft picks.
As we see Dresser Wynn check into the game. Now let's give him his flowers. He's a rookie, undrafted, at a UT Martin. He's a former punter, and he won back-to-back Ohio Valley titles at UT Martin. He's the guy that Sean McVay has talked a lot these last couple of weeks. He really wanted to get him into it.
Yeah, this is awesome that he's getting a chance to play. He definitely has arm talent. He got on a lot of people's radar by throwing at the Tennessee Pro Day with Justin Hyatt and their group, and that Pro Day throwing to a wide receiver that eventually went into the third round, and they had two wide receivers that eventually got drafted. So he impressed a lot of people.
MJ, you don't want to cut you off here, but Les, before we let you go, and it's third down here, got to ask you about Logan Bruss. Moved him back to right tackle. It's been a struggle at times so far through his second season, obviously coming back from a pretty serious knee injury. Where does this team stand with Logan Bruss?
You know, he definitely, from OTAs to now, he's definitely been net positive, playing both right and left tackle. But there has been some negative moments in games, even in practices. So he's definitely still in progress, and we're trying to get him there.
Trying to get him there by moving him back to his natural position. Right tackle also even took some reps Thursday at left tackle. As you try to find the right combination, Zach Thomas was moving around here as well. Dresser Wynn over the head of Braxton Burmeister there, incomplete on third down. And Ethan Evans is out to punt. Ethan Evans might get our player of the game, as that guy's got a cannon. And another deep one, hitting him inside the 10. Well, it's got to bounce back across the 10, but Ethan Evans has been doing
I think
the
he's
job.
solidified player of the game.
I think he's safe.
That's a positive and a negative.
That is, yeah. I see what you mean.
It's a good
Les Snead, we appreciate it.
Enjoyed it.
It's been fun.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank
Stay
you,
in
Scott.
shape.
Hey, don't tempt me with a good time, because you know
yeah.
I'll be ready.
Definitely.
All right.
Maybe fullback.
Les Snead, everybody.
Slot receiver.
John Johnson down to the sideline with Kurt.
Well, guys, I really thought John Johnson was the story of training camp, not how well you played. The fact you came back to the team. How did this happen after 2 years in Cleveland?
Just had to get back to basics. That's where all my resources are. That's why I feel comfortable. I feel like the coaches feel comfortable with me, so it was like a perfect fit.
Les Snead had just told us up in the booth, he said, I wish the fans could see the joint practices against the Raiders and the joint practices against Denver. From a defensive standpoint, explain what you like from this defense, especially with Russell Wilson. You're going against him twice this week.
Oh, yeah, we're competing. You know, a lot of people want to say we're young, but, you know, we're not playing like it. Having fun out there, getting better every day. And, you know, we don't want to peak at the right time. We just want to constantly get 1% better each and every day, and that's what we're doing. You know, like you said, from the Raiders to here in Denver, all we've done is get better and compete. You know, and I think, like, you know, the score here doesn't really show the work that we put in, so I agree with Les.
So from a defensive standpoint, one of the things that Sean has talked about is he brought you back in part to be a leader. What does that mean for you specifically?
Right, we came in together in 2017. You know, his first year was my first year. Built something very special. You know, it's still, you know, stuff from I was here the first time. It's still stuff lingering around. So, yeah, just be myself, be the same person every day. Establish that culture that, you know, we've started back in 2017. And I'm just trying to model the way. You know, just be the same person, do the right things on and off the field. You know what I'm saying? When we get time to ourselves, you know, I can take the younger guys under my wing and, you know, just be John Johnson.
All right, last thing, JJ. In journalism, they say don't bury the lead. I buried the lead. You're a dad now.
Oh, I am.
You got a 3-month-old son, right?
Yes, I do.
How's that changed your life?
A lot has changed. You know, just growing up, getting older. I'm enjoying it. You know, it's a blessing. And everything in life is a blessing. So, just trying to be a super dad and do the best that I can.
The man from Maryland by way of Boston College, right at home in Los Angeles. JJ,
yeah.
appreciate your time.
Thank you.